Hello folks, in this video we're going to talk about putting the box together and getting the crank to spin, and then we will talk about putting cams in there. So a little bit of prep work before we get started. First, just to keep honest people honest and to make sure we recognize what the front is, we're going to put your name right here on the front of the top. We're going to do this all the way through and then you do it. So watch first, please. So I'm going to sketch on the front of the top. Then I'm going to turn all of the parts off except the top. So, you can turn all the parts off at once and then turn one on. Okay, now we're looking at the front of the top piece. Okay, we're going to N for normal, gets me looking straight at it. And I'm going to just use the text box and drag a rectangle inside of that space. Don't hook it up like that. Just put it inside of the space. Type your name in there. First name, last initial is fine. Don't hit enter because it'll go to the next line. Just hit the check mark. Cool. You should be able to move that. And then finally, we're going to extrude that and cut it. Let's not have it go out. Let's have it be removed. And we'll just go 0.01 just to have it there. And finally, go to the extrude and edit the appearance to that feature and make it a dark color that can be seen. All right, cool. So we're looking at that. Go ahead and do that process. Now, before we turn the other parts back on, we know that this is the front because it's facing the front if we look at the view cube. And we're going to make some holes in this for the risers. Now, this part is not going to be symmetrical to the box because there will be a piece fitting inside here. So it's important that we know where the front is. We're going to sketch on the top of this, and we're going to hit N for normal. So we're looking at the very top. And we're going to place 5 holes, or 5 points, 4 holes. So we're going to make these as equally spaced as possible towards the middle. Make sure you're not hooking up with anything. 1, 2, 3. You know what? I just realized I'm going to hit undo a couple times. I want each one of my points to be horizontally constrained to the last one. So it's hard to see that little yellow dotted line is showing up, but there's the horizontal constraint. And the next one I want horizontal, and the next one, and the next one. I'm going to make 5 of those, and they're all horizontally constrained to each other. Next, we're going to dimension that first one 2 inches from the front. So D, and I'm going from that front edge to there is going to be 2 inches. Notice that they all moved because they're all horizontally constrained. Okay. Now we're just going to chain dimension them. You don't chain dimension in a drawing, but when we're modeling, it's okay. We're going to go from there to there as 1. Next is going to be the same thing. And make them all spaced. Whoops, messed that up. Make them all spaced 1 away from each other. All right, we're looking good. Once we've got that good, and they should all be black. If you have one that's blue, it's probably not horizontally constrained with the others. So make sure that it looks like that. Check mark, and we're going to put holes in those. Hit the hole command. We're going to put 1 on each one of them, and we're going to make a 0.25 through hole. Mine is already at 0.25. You may need to change that, and it should say through all right here. So we're going to go all the way through the part and check, and we should have holes going all the way through. Now we can turn on all of the parts by clicking at the top of the parts bar, get them all in there. Cool. Next, we're going to go to the assembly environment and actually assemble this thing. So let's go to the assembly tab. We're going to insert the whole thing of box parts in there. We want the whole darn thing. Okay. And we're good. So now we're going to start putting this together. These 3 pieces are going to fit on top of the bottom. So they're going to get all kind of sandwiched in between the top and the bottom. So let's start putting that together. The first thing we need to think about is what corner goes to what corner when I set this up on top of that piece. So let me show you what not to do first. Again, this is what not to do. Make a fasten mate and go, well, I'm going to look at this corner down here, make sure the blue is facing me. Now I'm going to go that corner down there, make sure the blue is facing me. Whoops, I need to flip it. Because look at what's happening. If I do that and say, oh, okay, look, see that little square down there? That means that I've got a part inside of a part. Okay, so beware of that. You can't do that. You need to make sure that you're choosing the right corner. So I'm going to undo that. I just did. And this time I'm going to make the correct corner, which should be that corner sitting on that corner. Okay, so let's do the fasten mate again. Just watch what I'm doing and then you can do it. I always make sure the little blue Z axis is facing the direction I want it to face. Same thing up here, click. Now, you may have to rotate, you may have to flip, you may have to do something to get it to the right spot. Cool. Looks good. It's not overlapped. It's flush with the front. This gap is back there because this piece is going to fit in. So that's okay. If it makes you feel better and you want to see things, you can always click on a part, not while we're in fastened, but you can always click on a part and just rotate it to kind of get it the way you want it to be and move it a little bit so that you can see what you're doing and get it sort of in the right spot. And it makes it a little easier to see. So you can always do that as well. Here we go with the next one. I'm going corner to corner. This time I think I'll choose that corner and that corner. You may mess up and have to undo. You may have to flip things around. Okay. So we're going to put all of this together with the top sitting on top of all of this and the back in that little notch in the back. So I'm going to pause here and while you do that. And when you're finished, you should have something that looks like that. Make sure there's no overlaps. Make sure things are flush. You may have to delete some of the mates and redo them again. That's okay. All right, so we got the box built. Cool, looking good. Next thing is we're going to get that crank in there and the crank spinning. So we're going to fasten this to this, but then we're going to do a revolute mate. So we're going to fasten. The best way to do this is to choose that arc out there and make sure that the little fastened disc is in the center of it. Okay, because otherwise there's nowhere to do that little star. And then we're going to choose the center of that. Okay, looks good. You might have to flip it if it's going the wrong way. Okay, so good. We're fastened on that. And the last one we're going to do is a revolute. We're going to take this edge right here and go to the circle on the side of the box. Do the right side, even if you're left-handed. When you build this physically, you can put it on the other side, but just so you can follow the video as well, let's put it on the right side of the box. So we're going to do a revolute, and we're going to choose, again, you got to make sure that little disc shows in the middle. It's a little tricky sometimes. And then we're going to do that circle right there. Make sure it works. Remember, it will bring the shaft over with it when you click OK. Cool. All right. So we're looking good with that. And finally, we're going to drive that right click and hit animate. And we should see the shaft and the crank turning. Right now it's reciprocating. You can put it to loop and it will keep going around and around. All right, so you're going to get this checked off and show your teacher that it's going. By the way, it's okay that this is sticking out the other end. We're going to deal with that later. Good job. We got the cranks going. Next, we're going to talk about building the cams and putting them in there. Good job, and we'll see you for that one.